What is up, everyone? This is Zero, and I am finally back. It's been quite a while since my last video, but I've been traveling all over the country here recently and haven't had the time. I think this is the second game I ever played on Hotel here. I joined it partway through, and I was just kind of looking to see, because I don't like getting stuck on the losing teams usually. I just rage quit a game on Hotel right before this because I had a retarded team, and I was afraid I got stuck right back in the same game. But I actually got stuck on a team that wasn't doing too bad, so I decided to continue with it. Anyway, just got back from my trip. I spent a couple days in Seattle, and then as soon as I got back from that, I flew out to Missouri and spent a week in Missouri with my family, and that was quite an experience. Some parts of it were pretty fun. I got to do a lot of fishing. Hadn't been fishing for probably 13 or 14 years, so I went out with my cousin and his family and ended up at a place where it was basically just catching a fish every single cast, and if you missed one, chances are you'd get another one biting before you got your line in, so it was pretty fun. It's one of the only times in my life I ever got bored of catching fish. Then my dad talked me into going to the Lake of the Ozarks with him and some of his friends, and we went crappie fishing, and if you never ate crappie, it's good. I don't know if most people even know what that is. I think it's kind of a southerner thing, but it's really good to eat. Other than that, it was a pretty eye-opening experience as to just the differences in this country and basically why this country is going to shit. Basically just the attitudes of Americans, and middle America is the worst. I actually was made fun of because I have a college education, which is kind of weird. People pride themselves on being uneducated and ignorant in the Midwest. It's hard to believe, but they do. I actually heard the quote that Fox News is the only reliable news source because all the other news outlets are liberal Obama lovers, which, for those of you not in America, Fox News is basically right-wing propaganda. Here recently they got caught actually completely forging a couple stories. They got sued for it, and they won the lawsuit, saying that just because they report it as news does not mean it has to be fact or even the truth, because news is entertainment. So basically they have free reign to say whatever they want, and the owner of that corporation is probably the biggest donor to the Republican Party. So if you wonder why America is, seems to be regressive and not as, I don't know, just kind of backwards from all the European countries where everything seems to be kind of liberal and open, well, that's why, because a lot of America just feeds on this stuff, and they love the viewpoint that Fox News gives them. They're very conservative, fundamental Christians, that's the word for it. And they are one of the biggest voting bases in America, if not the biggest voting base. So, if you ever find yourself wondering, what the hell is wrong with these stupid Americans? That's what's wrong. That's why we seem so ignorant and racist and homophobic and don't want to give people health care and things like that, because those are the people in charge. And those happen to be well, they're not in charge now, but they're still a big voting base, and they hate the people that are in charge now. And it's what I came from. I know I talk about my family being racist and homophobic and things like that every once in a while, but I never realized just how racist and homophobic they were until this trip, because I was, really looking for it this time. It's been kind of hard. I've been trying to reconcile this the last few days just to figure out how to put it into words, because I don't know, it's hard to almost reconcile in my head that these people that I grew up with and the people that I looked up to and admired when I was young are actually the people that I have no respect for these days. I guess I have respect for them, but the opinions that they hold are just opinions. I have no respect for people with those opinions when I typically meet them. I think it's mainly just a product of environment, and I really don't see any way that environment can be changed. That's just the way it is there, and that's the way it's always been, and it seems to be that they're rebelling against any progressive thought in America. It's kind of saddening in a way, but I don't know what's going to happen. People like that don't want their kids to get educated because, well, education tends to lead to more liberal thought and more acceptance and understanding of cultures and things like that. Oh, and they definitely love the wars that are going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. They want it to be a war on Islam. They don't want it to be just a war on terrorism. They do want a full war on Islam, which is... it's just kind of exasperating to even think about. I have no idea where these ideas and these thoughts come from, and half of them are based on misinformation that they're being fed by extreme right-wing news sources. They'll be quoting facts and things that are completely wrong, and of course you can't tell them that they're wrong because nobody wants to hear that. It's just liberal propaganda from the liberal media when you actually tell them the real truth, because they're so brainwashed by this circular logic and thought. But anyway, sorry for all my rambling on this. I'm still just trying to cope with all this, and thought maybe if I somehow put it out loud, maybe it would help me figure things out. I'll get back to my regular commentaries before long.